As I set the Christmas turkey on my plate, my mother, Denise, didn't even look up before saying, "You need to move out. The sooner the better." No anger. No explanation. Just cold dismissal. I lowered my fork and glanced around the table I had cooked for, decorated for, paid for. And in that moment, the truth settled in. I was only welcome here for as long as I was useful, never because I belonged. Growing up, I learned one lesson earlier than most kids my age. I was the child expected to figure things out, while my younger sister, Harper, was what my mother, Denise, called the jewel of the family. That phrase was repeated so many times it became a kind of family motto, one that never included me. My childhood was lined with quiet sacrifices and loud favoritism. Harper had a bedroom glowing with LED lights, pastel walls, and shelves filled with trophies she barely earned. I slept on a foldable cot in the laundry room, the scent of detergent and fabric softener seeping into every blanket I owned. While Harper spent summers at singing camps and cheer clinics, I worked part-time at a neighborhood coffee shop by the time I was 15 just to afford notebooks and a working backpack. Vacations were never for me. If they happened, they revolved around Harper's schedule, Harper's performances, Harper's milestones. My birthday? It was usually shoved into a corner of a larger celebration for Harper winning the regional vocal showcase. I learned early on that some people celebrated you only when it was convenient for their favorite child. As an adult, that pattern didn't fade, it sharpened. I was the one who paid the 3 months of overdue mortgage to stop the house from slipping into foreclosure. I was the one who put all our phone lines under my name for 4 consecutive years because Denise said it was too complicated for her to deal with the carrier. Whenever an unexpected bill arrived, the water heater breaking, the electricity warning, a sudden medical copay, Denise called me first. Always with the same line. "You're the responsible one. Harper already has so much on her plate." Harper's plate, as far as I could tell, consisted mostly of brunch, online shopping, and posting motivational quotes about chasing your dreams. Whenever she lost a job, which happened often, I was the one urged to pay for her online courses. 3 of them. None completed. Still, no one ever said thank you. Not once. Instead, the message was always, "Family sacrifices for family." Except somehow the sacrifices flowed only one way. 1 year ago, Denise called me sobbing, insisting the house was at risk again. She said she was drowning, that she couldn't hold things together without me. I had finally built a small life of my own, an apartment I loved, stability I fought hard for, but I broke my lease and moved back home because that's what I'd been conditioned to do. To rescue. To patch. To give. And so I became the sole income in that house. I paid the mortgage. I stocked the fridge and pantry. I fixed the leaky plumbing after months of neglect. I bought a brand new sofa because Denise said the old one had bad energy and was blocking blessings. I even upgraded the Wi-Fi so Harper could stream her shows without interruptions. But something strange happened the more I helped. The gratitude shrank, the entitlement grew. Harper complained if groceries weren't organic. Denise rolled her eyes whenever I worked late, saying I made her feel lonely. If I ever hesitated before transferring money, both of them acted personally wounded, as if I had betrayed them. And then Christmas came. I spent hours cooking, decorating, budgeting, making the house feel warm, trying, for once, to create a holiday that felt like a family. And instead of even the smallest appreciation, I received a sentence that cracked something inside me. "You need to move out. The sooner the better." No argument. No build-up. Just a cold dismissal from the woman I had financially carried for an entire year. As I sat there, staring at the dinner I made, I realized something painful but necessary. They had never needed me. Not the person, not the daughter, not the sister. They needed what I could provide. And once they believed they'd taken enough, they discarded me like a piece of furniture past its usefulness. Christmas ended with me quietly packing my bags. But the real ending, or beginning, was still far ahead. When I asked Denise why I suddenly had to move out, why she chose Christmas dinner to deliver a sentence that cracked open the floor beneath me, she didn't yell, didn't accuse, didn't even flinch. She simply shrugged, her voice flat and dismissive. "Rowan, you drain me. I need space. And Harper needs to focus on her career. You moving out is the best for all of us." Harper, wrapped in a new velvet robe I'd bought her last month, chimed in without looking up from her phone. "Yeah, you just disrupt the energy of the house. You should really learn to be independent." Independent. The word burned. The person who paid every bill, stocked every shelf, covered every emergency, was being lectured on independence by two people who hadn't financially contributed a dime in a year. I didn't scream. I didn't plead. I didn't ask them to reconsider. Instead, I walked to my room, folded my clothes, zipped my suitcase, and stepped out into the icy December night. Snow fell in thick, whispering sheets, covering my tracks almost as soon as I left them. There was no goodbye. No thanks. Not even a glance from the window. But the confrontation didn't end at that front door. It only changed forms. 3 days later, while I was unpacking in the tiny studio I'd rushed to rent, I opened Facebook and froze. Denise had posted a slideshow of the Christmas dinner I had prepared, the table setting, the golden turkey I'd basted for hours, the decorations I bought with the last of my holiday bonus. Her caption read, "A warm Christmas evening with the people who matter most." The photo carousel didn't include me. Not a single mention. As if I'd never existed in that house at all. Within minutes, my inbox filled with messages from relatives. "Why did you abandon your poor mother on Christmas? Denise told us you caused a scene before storming out. You should be ashamed of yourself." Ashamed. For leaving the place where I'd been thrown out. Then Harper messaged me. "You embarrassed us. Everyone thinks you're unstable. Please stop making everything dramatic." It was masterful gaslighting, layered, practiced, perfected. And I had been the perfect target for years. I blocked them all. For the first time in my life, I chose silence instead of justification. But silence didn't stop them. A month later, my phone lit up with Denise's name. I let it ring twice before answering. "Rowan, why haven't you paid the mortgage yet? The bank sent a notice. You need to take care of this." For a moment, I couldn't speak. I honestly believed I misheard. "Mortgage? You kicked me out." Her tone sharpened instantly. "And? The house still needs to be paid. You know I can't handle it. Harper is working on her music career. I depend on you." The entitlement in her voice wasn't new, it was simply louder now that she no longer had to pretend. "So let me get this straight," I said, my voice very calm, almost too calm. "You told me to move out. But you still expect me to pay for the house?" As the responsible daughter, yes, Denise snapped. "You always step up. Don't start acting selfish now." Selfish. The word she used whenever she wanted something from me. Behind her voice, I could hear Harper complaining about the Wi-Fi being too slow. The same Wi-Fi I had upgraded. The same bill I had paid. The same household they had expelled me from. In that moment, something finally clicked into place. Not a soft realization. A sharp one. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This wasn't temporary stress. This wasn't a mother having a difficult moment. This was a pattern. A system. A structure built over decades where I played one role only. Provider. They valued the money I earned, not the human being behind it. They wanted my labor, not my presence. They wanted the roof I kept over their heads, not a relationship with me. And now, even after discarding me, they still believed I was obligated to fund their lives. The call ended with Denise saying, "You better pay it before we lose the house." And for the first time ever, I didn't respond. I didn't apologize. I didn't rush to fix it. I just stared at the phone, pulse steady, mind crystal clear. This wasn't family. This was exploitation dressed up as loyalty. And I knew. This was the moment the entire story would turn. I told Lila everything. Not the edited version. Not the "I'm fine, it just hurts a little" version. The entire truth, the Christmas eviction, the mortgage demand, the Facebook posts, the years of financial bleeding I'd normalized because I thought that was what a good daughter did. Lila didn't gasp. She didn't blink. She just stared at me with a kind of sharp, protective fury I'd never seen directed for me before. "Rowan," she said, voice steady. "They don't want you. They want your service. They want the stability you create, not the person you are." The words hit harder than the eviction. Because they were true. And hearing them out loud stripped away the last of the excuses I'd been clinging to for years. Lila told me to pull up every document I had, mortgage statements, utility bills, old emails, bank alerts. She sat beside me on the floor, laptop open, determination etched on her face like she was preparing for battle. And then the truth started pouring out. The mortgage? Denise hadn't paid a single cent in 11 months, not even when I'd moved out. All those emergencies she kept calling me about? None of them involved paying the house I was apparently responsible for. Harper, who claimed she was focusing on her career, had been using the secondary card on my account to buy over $1,000 worth of skincare, a VIP concert package, and even a weekend getaway with her friends. Denise had listed me as her financial dependent on her taxes, claiming I was taken care of by her, just to secure a higher refund. And the worst? A $6,000 personal loan, filed in my name, with a signature that wasn't mine. The application listed my email, my phone number, my employer, but the disbursement account belonged to Denise. I felt my chest go hollow. Not broken. Not achy. Just emptied. Lila put a hand on my knee. "Rowan, this isn't neglect. This is strategy. They planned this. They mapped it out. They used you because you're the only one who actually works." Her words weren't cruel. They were clarifying. For years, I thought I was helping a struggling family. But it wasn't struggle, it was entitlement. Not gratitude, expectation. Not love, dependency. The more I stared at the evidence, the more my role became unbearably clear. I didn't live in that house for the past year. I held it up. I was the scaffolding they leaned on until they decided I was no longer convenient. And they discarded me instantly, because in their eyes, usefulness was the only currency I had. By the time I met with Mr. Powell, the attorney Lila recommended, I was no longer crying, I was calculating. Powell reviewed everything, page after page, and finally said, "I'm going to be honest with you, Ms. Clark. This wasn't accidental. This wasn't confusion. This was systematic exploitation. Coordinated. Consistent. And absolutely illegal." Hearing a professional label it so plainly snapped the last thread tying me to denial. Clarity didn't come in a dramatic thunderbolt. It came in a quiet, unwavering sentence inside my mind. I am not obligated to be their lifeline simply because they refuse to build their own. I closed my folder, exhaled slowly, and felt a strange new steadiness settle over me. For the first time in my life, I wasn't planning how to fix things. I was planning how to expose them. And this time, I wasn't afraid. I scheduled the meeting at the public conference room of the library, neutral ground, cameras everywhere, no chance for Denise to spin the story later. Powell sat beside me, calm and composed, a thick folder in front of him. I could tell he had done this many times, and somehow that gave me courage. Denise walked in first, wearing the expression she always wore when she wanted to look like the victim, tight-lipped, shoulders hunched dramatically, sighing as if the world was crushing her. Harper followed behind her, phone discreetly tilted upward, clearly live streaming or recording. When she caught me looking, she smirked. As if she truly believed there was a universe where I should be afraid of the truth. Powell didn't waste a second. He opened the folder, rotated it toward them, and spoke with a crisp, unshakable tone. We are here to review documented financial misconduct involving Rowan Clark. Denise scoffed. Misconduct? She's the one causing problems. She abandoned her family. Powell continued talking over her, exactly as a seasoned attorney does. Exhibit 1, a personal loan of $6,000, filed under Rowan's name, signed with a forged signature. Disbursement to an account registered to you, Mrs. Parker. He slid the sheet forward. Denise's face strained. Her lips parted, then pressed shut like she was physically trying to swallow her reaction. Powell turned another page. Exhibit 2, unauthorized usage of Rowan's secondary credit card by Harper Parker, totaling $2,312. Skin care, concert tickets, recreational travel. Harper stiffened. Her fingers tightened around her phone until I heard the faint plastic creak. And finally, Powell continued, mortgage statements showing Rowan paid 11 consecutive monthly installments. Despite being forcibly removed from the household. Denise exploded. Harper chimed in, her voice sharp and high-pitched. Their words didn't hit anymore. They barely reached me. For the first time in years, I wasn't absorbing anything. I was observing. I stood, smoothing my palms on my jeans, and looked at them, really looked at them, not as my family, but as two adults who had made deliberate choices. You threw me out, I said quietly. The calmness in my voice surprised even me. You told me to leave. Christmas night. After I kept that house afloat for almost a year. Denise tried to interrupt, but my voice cut cleanly over hers. And after you pushed me out the door, you still expected me to pay the mortgage. The bills. Harper's card. Everything. I turned to Harper. You didn't think I would check the statements, did you? Her phone clattered to the ground. I felt something inside me shift, a final, irrevocable breaking of the script I'd been performing my whole life. I looked straight at Denise. You didn't kick me out because I was a problem. You kicked me out because you assumed I'd come crawling back. You assumed I'd keep paying for a house I wasn't allowed to live in. Denise's face twisted, panic clawing behind her eyes. And then, like she had nothing left, she lunged at me. Hand raised. A slap winding through the air. But Powell was faster. He stepped between us, palm up, voice booming. Touch her, and I will file an assault report before you take your next breath. Denise froze. Her hand hovered midair, trembling. The room went silent, a heavy, suffocating silence that stripped every excuse, every manipulation, every lie. And then I said the words I had been waiting my whole life to say. I am not your income. A pause. I am not your safety net. Another pause. I am not responsible for the life you refuse to build. I grabbed my bag. Powell closed the folder. And without raising my voice, without slamming a door, without shedding a single tear, I walked out. Behind me, I heard nothing but frantic whispers, blame ricocheting like shrapnel. But none of it belonged to me anymore. The chaos they created would finally stay with them. Not with me. 1 week after the confrontation, the fallout hit faster than even I expected. First came the notice: the house, the very one I had kept afloat for nearly a year, was officially under pre-foreclosure review. Without my payments, Denise couldn't cover even a fraction of the mortgage. She tried calling Powell to negotiate, but he reminded her that she no longer had any connection to me, financial or otherwise. Harper made a dramatic announcement online that she was finally choosing independence and moving out. 2 days later, she showed up at my building, Mascara Street, sobbing. "Mom wants me to pay the electric bill. And the water bill. And the internet. I can't afford that." For the first time, I didn't rescue her. I simply said, "Now you understand what she expected from me." The message landed. Meanwhile, relatives who had blindly taken Denise's side suddenly changed tone. After I posted the documented timeline, the mortgage payments, the forged loan, the credit card charges, the narrative shifted. Some apologized privately. A few apologized publicly. And one aunt, the loudest critic during Christmas, admitted, "We didn't know the truth. I'm so sorry. But I wasn't looking for validation anymore." I finally moved into my own studio, small, bright, quiet. The first night there, I sat on the floor, surrounded by unpacked boxes, and listened to something I hadn't heard in a long time. Silence. Not the heavy, suffocating silence of walking on eggshells. A peaceful quiet that felt like ownership. My space. My rules. My life. I set boundaries I had never dared to set before. No unexpected visits. No demands for money. No manipulative phone calls. And if any came in, I simply didn't answer. Slowly, I rebuilt myself. I signed up for a morning running group. I started cooking again, meals I enjoyed, not meals designed to please someone else. I dusted off the guitar I hadn't touched in years and let my fingers relearn the strings. Every day, I felt a little lighter. A little freer. And one evening, while watching the sunset through my tiny studio window, it hit me. My freedom wasn't revenge against them. My freedom was choosing myself, finally, without apology. I'll end with this. Revenge isn't always about burning someone to the ground. Sometimes, the real revenge is refusing to let them burn you any longer. If you've ever been treated like a tool, a walking ATM, or the family's built-in safety net, you're not alone. And you're not wrong for wanting peace. Family isn't something you should have to buy your way into. Family is the place where you're met with kindness, respect, and the simple acknowledgement that you matter, not for what you provide, but for who you are. If this story struck something in you, if it echoed a chapter of your own life, I hope it reminded you that choosing yourself is not selfish. It's survival. It's healing. It's freedom. And if you want more stories like this, raw, honest, and deeply human, share this video, leave your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more real family revenge stories.